Okay, good morning, everybody. Good morning to everybody out there. Sorry about the late start. Today we are celebrating a memorial for Nisshin Shonin, who was a very interesting, controversial figure in Nichiren Buddhism and is the direct, in our direct lineage, or through our Nakayama lineage. Nisshin Shonin actually showed up to our Kyoji temple, which was originally a Shinganshu temple, and he debated the minister, and the minister lost the debate, and so the minister had to convert and become Nichiren minister. So that is how we became a Nichiren temple, is that Nisshin Shonin debated the head of the Kyoji temple and converted him to Nichiren Buddhism. But because of that, I want to take a second and I want to read about the history of Nisshin Shonin in order for us to understand sort of what the message of the day will be. Honji Nisshin, 1407 to 1488, is one of the most colorful and famous priests in the history of Nichiren Buddhism. He was, according to Jacqueline Stone, an authority on medieval Japanese Buddhism, quote, an uncompromising purist. Nisshin's efforts to spread the Lotus Sutra are said to be modeled after those of Nichiren himself. He followed and supported the initial efforts of Higo Ajari Nichizo from 1269 to 1342, who was dispatched by Nichiren himself to preach the Dharma in Kyoto to reach the ears of the emperor, Jōgyoin Nichiyu, 1298 to 1374, who presented a letter of admonition to Emperor Go-Daigo. Additionally, he traveled and established many temples throughout Kyushu, Japan, including our home temple in Kyoji. To understand true propagation of the spirit of Shakabuku, we must first understand some important aspects about his life. At the age of 20, in the year of Oi, 33, Nisshin made a statement regarding his spirit towards spreading the Dharma and reforming Buddhism in Japan. One's body is insignificant, but the Dharma is profound. At the end of that year, he started his ascetic training, which lasted for 100 days from autumn through winter. Each night, during the hours of 11 p.m. to 3 a.m., he went to the graveyard of what is now Hokkei-kyoji Temple in modern Ichikawa City. He followed the esoteric tradition conferred in the prayer sutra known as the Hito-kyo. This was conferred by Nichiren for spiritual protection upon Koki Nichijijo, who then transferred it to Nichiyu through secret transmission. Nisshin understood that he had received transmission of this teaching from Nichiyu, and due to that fact, he could not be killed or harmed and would be able to overcome any amount of torture. Sitting in front of the stone grave stupas at the graveyard, he recited the Jigage verses of chapter 16 each night, 100 times. This place was desolate and no one traveled there except for foxes and ghosts. According to legend, on the last night, all the stone stupa monuments recited the Jigage with him. One stupa stood out from the rest in its magnificent voice, but he could not make out whose grave it was. He embraced the stupa and pulled off of it apart to identify it in the morning moon and the morning light. When he returned in the morning sun, he realized that it marked the grave of Nichiyu, who had been the chief abbot of Hokkei-kyoji and whom he considered his spiritual protector. During this time, it is stated that after peeling away a fingernail away from his hand, he drew a mandala in his own blood mixed with the water from the pond he had performed his freezing water ablutions every day. This act showed that he valued the Dharma over even his own life. As part of his propagation, he was dispatched by his home temple to Nakayama Hokkei-kyoji to oversee its branch temples located in the southern Japan island of Kyushu. Upon his arrival, he found that many of the temples to have enshrined bodhisattvas and deities not directly related to the teachings of the Lotus Sutra. He became very upset and criticized both the priests and the laity publicly. This led to his expulsion from the lineage in the year 1437. Undaunted, he continued to admonish other priests and government officials, including the shogun, Ashikaga Yoshinori, for their lack of devotion to the Lotus Sutra. The shogun censored Nisshin and ordered him to cease criticizing the government. Nisshin ignored the order and proceeded to write one of his most famous works, the Risho Chikokuron, which he sent to Ashikaga Yoshinori in 1439. This book was inspired and based on the Risho Chikokuron written by Nichiren himself. As a result, Nisshin was imprisoned beginning in 1440 for 2 years. Nisshin's prison cell is said to have measured 4 feet 5 inches high, and its width could only fit 4 tatami mats, less than 9 feet by 9 feet. Long nails pierced the ceiling. The cell contained up to 28 people at a time. The prisoners in the cell could neither stand nor sit comfortably. During his time in prison, Nishin was horribly tortured on many occasions. One of the many tortures recorded was that in the intense heat of a summer, a large fire was made and Nishin was forced to walk across it. His captors stated that if he simply chanted and asked for Amida Buddha's mercy, it would be granted. Nishin stated that the flames and heat were indeed very difficult to endure. However, the flames of hell, of the slanderer of the Dharma, were even more harsh, upon which he continued to chant the Odaimoku, Namu Myo Horenge Kyo. Next, they took him out in the middle of the night, tied him to a tree, and beat him over and over again. They again told him that if he relied on the power of Amida Buddha's vows, he would receive mercy. Nishin replied, "There is no way to describe how hard the cold is to endure. However, one who receives the Dharma of an evil teacher falls into the 8 cold hells and is pierced by the ice of the hell of the great red lotus. No comparison can describe how many times the suffering of cold in that hell exceeds my present torments. How could I, because I shunned a brief spell of cold in this world, plant the seeds for long kalpas of suffering?" He continued to chant the Odaimoku. Upon the rise of the sun, the shogun came to inspect Nishin's state and was angered to find that he had been able to endure his ordeal because of his great faith in the Lotus Sutra. On another occasion, Nishin was locked in a heated bathhouse for 3 hours where there was little air. Bamboo skewers were applied to his nether regions, and garden hose were heated bright red and were applied under his arms over and over again. However, his demeanor did not change, and he continued to chant the Odaimoku. Finally, frustrated that they had been unable to break his resolve, his tormentors heated a pot until it glowed bright red and placed it over his head. His demeanor still did not change, and he continued to chant the Odaimoku. News of this amazing feat of defiance spread near and far, and his reputation grew larger than life. He became known as the, quote, pot-wearing saint. This became known as the Takehara persecution. Wishing to silence him once and for all, the shogun demanded that his tongue be cut off. The person administering the order felt compassion for Nishin and simply cut off the tip of his tongue, which gave him a lisp for the rest of his life. Many of his captors realized quickly that this could not be any ordinary person, but only a bodhisattva born in this world. From his prison cell, Nishin warned Ashikaga Yoshinori that in the Lotus Sutra it said that the tormentor of the teacher of the Dharma will be surely punished. He predicted that within 3 years Yoshinori would reap what he had sowed. Yoshinori laughed and said that he had been tormenting Nishin for more than a year and nothing had happened. Nishin stated that perhaps 3 years was too long, at which time he predicted that within 100 days the shogun would receive his punishment. Once again, he was ignored. On the evening of the 99th day, Yoshinori was assassinated by one of his vassals. After Yoshinori's death, his family wished to erase some of his terrible karma and released many of the imprisoned people from jail. However, Nishin said that he would not leave until all of Yoshinori's family members and Shogun's entire clan became devotees of the Lotus Sutra. They could not oppose Nishin, and all became followers of the Lotus Sutra. Nishin was 35 when he left prison. Following his release from prison, Nishin continued to spread the teachings of the Lotus Sutra. He was a very charismatic man, and because of his teachings, many people took refuge in the Lotus Sutra. He could no longer shave his head due to the scarring, and so he wore his hair cropped, much in the fashion of children at the time. When he administered sermons, people were able to hear and see firsthand the cruelty of the government through his lisps and scars. Many considered him to be Nichiren reborn. They thought, who else could overcome such severe torment and torture? Although he was very popular with the common people, many government officials and priests of the established order did not like the way Nichiren refused to compromise his ideals of exclusive devotion to the Lotus Sutra, making no accommodation to social custom or secular authority. As a result, in 1460, Opoji, a temple in Kyoto founded by Nichiren, was destroyed. In the same year, after receiving complaints from priests of other sects in Hizen about Nichin's proselytizing, the 8th shogun, Ashikaga Yoshimasu, ordered the governor of Hizen, Lord Chiba Taneshizu, to detain Nishin and bring him at once to Kyoto. Chiba was one of Nishin's followers and hesitated to turn Nishin over to the heretics in Kyoto, who simply wished to make him disappear. He delayed leaving Hizen as long as he could, then deliberately took the long way to Kyoto. A journey which normally only required a month took them 9 months. Chiba explained that they had been delayed by crowds of people along the route who wished to meet Nishin and hear his teachings. Nishin was held in Kyoto for about a year under house arrest, then was released in 1463. Following his release, he continued to spread the Dharma and worked hard to rebuild Honpoji Temple. He died at the age of 82. So Nichiren was a very controversial figure, obviously. You know, he's definitely a man of firm and unbending resolve. I'm not sure that many of us would have been able to deal with the things that he did. Very much so, we can look in the Lotus Sutra over and over and over again where it says that this universal teaching of acceptance, of equality, is going to be resisted by people because they don't want to believe that everybody's equal. And that there will be times when we are persecuted because of this. Now, I personally have not been persecuted. I hope to never be persecuted, but I also hope that if I am, that I have the resolve that Nishin Shonin did in the face of persecution. But what it did get me thinking about was pain. So this week, my studies have centered around the idea of pain and suffering. And what I've learned is pain does not necessarily equal suffering. We can suffer without feeling pain. The first noble truth is that all life is suffering, but what is that really saying? We talked briefly the other day, and you weren't here for this brief, that what the Buddha says in the Nirvana Sutra is that suffering is not this dealing with all of the vagaries of everyday life, all of the stuff that we all have to deal with every day. Oh, my back hurts, this hurts, oh, I didn't get this that I wanted. He says, no, that's just the simple thing that most people associate with suffering, but true suffering is really not ever being exposed to the Dharma. That's what real suffering is. Because once you've been exposed to the Dharma, you understand that suffering is a choice, is attachment to things that don't last, is not seeing reality as it is. So when we have the Dharma, then we can see that the things that I have to deal with as a human being, well, suffering is just a part of life as far as that goes. We don't always get what we want. Right? Things don't always go smoothly. Sometimes good things happen to bad people and bad things happen to good people. That's just the way things end up working out. But we don't attach to that. That's why we don't suffer from that. Pain is usually more intense when we don't examine it. Fear is based on the idea of something that we don't want to look at, that we're afraid of. So when we feel pain, and we could say that when we feel pain when we're seated in silent meditation, maybe we feel it in our back, maybe we feel it in our hips. First off, common sense, adjust your posture, right? We don't have to doggedly hold a position or a point of view in life just because we always have. We can sit up a little straighter. We can find our balance point a little faster, right? But when we do feel pain in the situations like seated in meditation or in life, rather than pushing it away and saying, I'm not going to look at that, that pain doesn't exist. Instead, we look at it with exquisite detail and attention. Oh, it's not just pain, it's a sharp pain. Oh, it's a dull pain. Oh, it feels like this. So we examine it. We don't run away from it, right? For me, recently, I'm teaching 4 new courses I've never taught before. I don't have any lesson plans. It's high school students. They're grumpy as heck. They don't want to engage. And I tried to teach meditation on Friday, and it just blew up in my face, and I was really frustrated. But rather than pushing it away, I looked at it. I'm like, okay, I'm frustrated. What does frustrated mean? Why am I frustrated? Oh, well, what is the origin of this? And what it came down to was I wasn't prepared. That the thing that was upsetting me was that I thought that I had this conceived notion that here I am, I'm this fantastic teacher. Man, I got this down. But what I had to realize and admit to myself was, no, you don't. You're not as good as you thought you were. And that's okay, because then that means that you have room to improve. And now that you've recognized that, now that you've put your finger on that, you have something that you can work with. I can work with this. Right before, it was just like, oh, stress, oh, I'm upset, I don't even know what I'm upset about. But once I started to really look at it and take it down and take away the upset at other people and looking at it as other beings' fault, other situations that made this happen. No, 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 no. Where's the core? Where am I reacting? Where's my soft spot? Where's the place that hurts? Because I didn't want to admit that I'm not as smart as I thought I was. I'm not as good as I thought I was. And then I have to look at that and go, I can't feel guilty about that, right? I have to go, okay, work in progress, and keep it moving. So today, what I want to ask and introduce is this idea of the chanting club. And I would like you guys to be members of my chanting club. And so this is what the chanting club entails. I would like each of us to make a commitment that once a day, we're going to do our Shadagya practice. If you only have 3 minutes, that's okay. Right? If you have 10 minutes, cool. If you have 30 minutes, great. If you have 1 minute, okay. But I'm starting a chanting club so that we all are accountable to each other. Right? That did you do your chanting practice each day this week type of thing. And it's not a judgment. It's not like you get slapped on the hand. It's like, no, I was only able to get 3 days in this week. Okay, no problem. Hey, at least you got those 3 days in. Maybe you could get 4 in next week. Right? And we're not here to judge each other or put each other down. There's nothing to achieve except enlightenment. Right? And that's seeing the world as it is, just so ultimate reality as it is. So this new pamphlet is not only my daily practice, but it's also Kanjin Sensei's daily practice now. And we've really been working on developing this brochure so that a new practitioner, if all they had was this, would be able to use it to practice. So today, this is the practice that we're going to do. I'm going to do it the same as if we were at home. You'll see me just kind of follow my lead, and we'll all read everything together. There's no waiting on anyone. For the sake of ease, I will do the main, and I'll say Rai-Hai, I'll say Dojo Kan, and I'll say Omon Sanki, but we'll read all of the rest together. Okay. I will be using bells, but you don't have bells at home, so it's okay if you don't have a bell at home. It's totally fine. And the one thing I'm going to add in that you're going to see me do is that after chanting Namu Myoho Renge Kyo and after the second meditation, I will do this. And it's sort of, Sensei explained it as a way to just imagine that you're kind of spreading the Odaimoku throughout. It's just a nice way to breathe and stretch right at the end. And after we do our final meditation, we'll do the same thing. Twice. And it's just a nice way to kind of stretch and breathe. Yes?
Are we to do that?
Yes. Yes. So if you might want to scooch over.
I'm doing that.
Yeah, might want to scooch over just so you can have room. At my house, there's actually a chair right here, so I kind of have to do this weird, like, on one side. And obviously, when we have a full group of people, we couldn't do this, but I figured today I would show you this since there's so few of us today. Otherwise, it's exactly the same as our normal practice, and I hope you enjoy it. So let's practice. During the chanting of Namu Myoho Renge Kyo, we please offer incense. Right. Know this place in which we find ourselves now is a dojo, a place of Buddhist training. All Buddhas come to this place and attain perfect enlightenment. All Buddhas come to this place and turn the wheel of the Dharma. All Buddhas come to this place and enter into nirvana. Om Santi. It is difficult to be born as a human being. I have now realized such a birth. To hear the teaching of the Buddha is difficult. I have now been able to hear it. I take refuge in the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. Namu Myo Renge Kyo. Please place your hands in Hokai Joi. Set your hands down. Joshin. Silent meditation to center and calm the mind and body so that we may chant the old rhyme. can hold the pamphlet in your hands like this and concentrate on each character as it's intoned. You can also at home set it up as its own little altar and chant, looking at each character. And the reason that we look at each character at home is so that we can have a deeper connection with each of the characters of Namu, realizing that Na and Mu are a single sound, meaning devotion or honor. Shoshogyo, chanting the old Daimoku Namu Myoho Renge Kyo. Honor be to the sublime Dharma of the Lotus Flower Sutra. Namu
Namu Namu
Please place your hands and hold tight, Jolene. Cosmic Realm Mudra. Jin Shingyo, silent meditation to feel the sublime dharma of the old Daimoku and the preciousness of life. Ekko. I respect you deeply. You will all be able to practice the way of Bodhisattvas and become Buddhas. May the merits I have accumulated by this offering be distributed among all living beings, and may I and all other living beings attain the enlightenment of the Buddha. Today we remember those in sickness and distress. We remember Issa Simmons, Carmen Laverne, Damien Reddick, Wendy Prevost, Jason Wellman, Jesse Schaefer, Otis Meshi, David Mills, Gail Bull, Dave Watson, Beth Watson, Gabe Benitez, Victoria, Jesse Travis Burnham, Scoop Lynn Bigelow, Jamie Lynn Woodside and her son Benjamin Woodside, and Mother Coleman. In memoriam, we remember Maria Valentin, Jean Knopp, Julia Petrikowski, Cheryl Sissy Jones, Stella, Maggie Herman, Ning Shi, Elaine and Joe Winter, Jack Parker, Terry Pickling, Bill Mears Sensei, Aunt Barbara, Kazuko Jordan, Cheryl Cushman, and Patrick Scanlon. Namu Myo Renge Kyo. Namu Myo Renge Kyo. Namu Myo Renge Kyo. Right on. Thank you all very much for practice today. It's really nice to share this with you. I'm so pleased that you all are here today. Definitely made my day. Thank you so much. And thank you to those at home that practice with us. Thank you for sharing our Shodaigo meditation. Next week we will be back to standard service. But with Bree here, she was sort of the last person in my rotation to get to teach the Shodaigo meditation. It fit perfectly. Because I just happened to get all the pamphlets today. So fantastic.